In the heart of the night, where the shadows play, Stephen Michael Beakey lighting up the way. Abnormal investigations, whispers in the trees. With boots on the ground, I'm chasing mysteries. Shining lights into the dark, unveiling what's unseen. Through the haunting silence, I walk where others dream. I'm on the ancient woods, where legends come alive. I'll uncover the truth, feel the shadows thrive. Footsteps on the trail, echoes in the night, searching for the secrets hidden from the light. Cryptids roam the wild under the moon's embrace. With every rustle in the leaves, I feel their haunting grace. Shining lights into the dark, unveiling what's unseen. Through the haunting silence, I walk where others dream. Among the ancient woods, where legends come alive, I'll uncover the truth, feel the shadows thrive. Each night a new adventure in the depths of the unknown. With passion in my heart, I'll walk this path alone. But with every discovery, I know I'm not afraid. For in the woods of wonder, true wonders are made. Shining lights into the dark, unveiling what's unseen. Through the haunting silence, I'll walk where others dream. Among the ancient woods, where legends come alive, I'll uncover the truth, feel the shadows thrive. So here's to the night, where the strange comes to be. With boots firmly planted on where I'm meant to be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Abnormal Investigations. As I get things squared away here real quick, I hope everybody's having a great night tonight. We've got a great show in store for you. And I think this one here may leave you unable to sleep tonight because I know that investigating this one, it sure it was a doozy. There was a lot of pretty wild things about this story that I had no idea existed. I do have photos for you all tonight while we talk about this encounter. And I hope y'all will enjoy that also. And like Sunshine is saying here, if you're new to the channel, if you're backstage, if you're watching now or after the show, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Come in, even if it's just a hi or a thumbs up, guys. Just let us know you're there. Say hello, and we'd love to welcome you to the family. And as always, guys, the likes are so important when we do these. If you didn't smash the like button coming in, we would ask that you smash that like button. It helps us grow, and we would appreciate that so very much. And it helps get our live out there so that people are able to see the great information, great audience, and great co-hosts that we have. So we would appreciate that so very much. We have a new background for you tonight, guys. It's going to be reflective of the topic tonight, so hope you all enjoy that. Let me go ahead and bring in my co-host Lisa as we start getting the show started. Hello, Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Did I throw you right in there? Was you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? Are you
Yes.
biting at the bit, huh?
Sure.
Well, we have been biting at the bit for this one for a while. Unforeseen circumstances, we weren't able to put this out when we wanted to put it out, but it's happening tonight, guys. You're going to get it. And I don't think you guys are going to be let down. I will say that this was a pretty wild, I don't know, investigation, because there was times that, it kind of creeped me out going back looking through it. I don't know about you, Lisa, but I do a lot of my investigations at nighttime, and there was some parts that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty creepy. A lot of things.
Yeah. That was creepier than a ex-mother-in-law on Payday. Some of it was really bad.
Yeah.
So we got a few things, guys, I want to talk to you before we get this show kicked off tonight. Allow some people to get into the show so they don't miss the very first, and they're asking us what's going on down the line. We do have our Patreon is up. We do have some videos out on Patreon. There will be more Patreon videos released in June, as I plan to have Lisa so busy that she's going to have writer's cramp. We're also got some things planned for the members, so don't think that we're going to leave you out. And in June, just so everybody knows, June we'll have our very first Boots on the Ground on Rumble. It will be live. So if you're not following us on Rumble, you may miss the Boots on the Ground. So make sure you're following us on Rumble. The moderators, I believe they can put that in the chat, the link to Rumble. And then, hello, Ginge. Good to see you. I think you're a new person also. Welcome to the family. Something I do need to address real quick tonight that some people have asked me, and I did look it up for you guys, even though it may seem like I ignore a lot of you guys. Hey, Tina, good to see you. So some people told me that there was some changes, and there was some changes due to the hello, Orphan, good to see you. There was some changes due to super chats. So upon looking that up, I did find out the information. Some people, and this is not my opinion or necessarily what Abnormal Investigations agrees with, but some people do not want to donate to the platform. So just to let you all know, the super chats that you're seeing tonight, whenever you make a super chat, YouTube gets 30% of all super chats. Just to let you all know that. If you don't want to, and that's what these people were griping to me about, is they did not want them to get a percentage of their donations, you can send it to my PayPal or my Cash App, which is pinned at the top of the chat. And I believe we have the moderators that will be sharing that through the chat. But we don't care either way you do it. I don't care if you do super chats and let them have 30%. It doesn't matter to me. It's just it was a concern to some of the people. And I looked it up and I got the information for you. And this is just an FYI for you guys that if you want to know, that's how it works. So I wanted to get that out there. Don't forget tomorrow, guys, we have Bob coming on the show live tomorrow night. That's going to be a great show. Then followed up by Bob after Friday, tomorrow night, Saturday, we got a boots on the ground. And then in June, I've already got 3 people coming on the show, guys. So we are lining it up on Abnormal Investigations. We got a lot of people coming on, and one you're really going to like. Hello, Bigfoot Mama. So good to see you. With that being said, Lisa, I got to take care of something. I'm having a little bit of a technical issue right now. Could you take over and just talk about whatever you want to talk about or the story or whatever, and I'll be right back.
Sure. Well, I guess I'll start with my first thoughts on this story. And fact is, I didn't really know much about this story other than that some paranormal investigators had looked into and researched the cave. That's really all I knew. So the haunting itself was pretty much all new to me. Some questions that I wanted to answer. The first one is, did this event or haunting actually happen? Or was it a hoax? And what evidence is there either way? Another one was, who is this Kate Batts that is associated with the Bell Witch? What is her character? What is her personality? Was she actually a witch? And what did she do? What was her role? Did she conjure up an entity or a poltergeist or open a portal or, I don't know, summon demons or skinwalkers? I really don't know and didn't know. And did she actually place a curse on this family? And if so, why did she do that? With stories like this, I like to start out by digging into the history because I like to have context in order to understand everything better and know what other questions I'd like to answer. So I look at time frames in relation to other occurrences we've heard of and how far removed from those events did this happen, and were the characters in this any connections there might be. I look to daily routines, how the people involved lived, and how that might factor into these experiences. I also look into, especially for this historical story, I look into religious and cultural beliefs and how they thought, what they believed, and if that factored into their actions or reactions to these events. And usually the first thing I like to look at is the area, and not just for map location, but topography and any anomalies nearby in the landscape, how they might factor in, and also cities and communities near the location, which might have affected this. Also, and last but not least, I want to give a special thanks to our great moderator, Sharon Guy, for passing along some great informational videos to us. They were very helpful and referenced a few books on the subject that I will cite and quote from throughout the show. So thank you very much, Sharon. We appreciate you and you're very helpful. Love you. The videos were from Cryptid Studies Institute. The books that I'll quote from, the first one is The Mysterious Spirit, The Bell Witch of Tennessee, published in 1934 by Dr. Charles Bailey Bell, who is the great-grandson of John Bell. And the second one is The Authenticated History of the Bell Witch, published in 1894 by M.V. Ingram, who was a newspaper editor of the time. And let's see, I'm not sure if Mike's going to give some background, so I'll go ahead and do that. The Bell family consisted of John and Lucy. They had 8 children, and 6 of them were at home during this experience. 2 of the children were away. The eldest daughter, Esther, was married, and she had moved away. And there was a son, Zadok, who was at boarding school at the time. And I did find out that neither one had experiences like the rest of the family had. There is a daughter, Betsy, who factors in to the story. She's very much a part of the story. And from the book A Mysterious Spirit, page 62, gave a description of her, so I'll go ahead and read that. Betsy is described as a devout Christian, blonde with a beautiful figure, lithesome or graceful, perfect complexion, rosy lips, cheery disposition, good sense, and a perfect character. And I think you'll maybe keep that in mind when you hear of what happened to her. Very happy young lady in the beginning. So I'll go ahead and let you know the area is Adams, Tennessee, which is located 40 miles northwest of Nashville and 7 miles south of the Kentucky state line. It's in north central Tennessee, Robertson County. The Red River snakes along the northern city limits of Adams, on which the Bell Farm is located, 1 mile northeast of town, so not far from town at all. It is an area of rolling hills and farmland, and the earliest census was taken in 1880, and it lists 237 residents. This was taken 60 years after John Bell's death, and the latest census in 2024 listed less than 1,000 at 888.
It's
So
a
those
pretty
are
small
my
town.
first, very small town to this day.
It's probably going to feel like a small town to me after the show. I had to stop my computer. It was going to do an antivirus scan, and I was like, no. I got everything plugged in and running. We don't want to do that.
Oh,
But we're
right.
good now. We're good. So, yeah, I missed pretty much what you said, but I'm sure you gave a really good summary. Is that
Yes, I
pretty much
listed
what it was?
the Bell, pretty much the Bell family. Just that
Hmm.
they had 6 children at home, 2 were away, and they did not have any of these experiences.
Right.
And I gave a
Okay.
description of Betsy, who factors into the story pretty heavily, um,
Awesome.
and just a description of Adams, Tennessee, where it is, and a little about the area.
Right.
I'm getting an
And
echo.
also,
Are you
um,
hearing that?
it, it's probably mom's phone. I
Oh,
can hear myself. That may be it. Is that better? Is
say
it gone
something?
now? Say something.
Yes.
Hello? Say something. Okay. So I forgot to mention somebody. Everybody, please give Kaylee a hello and a heart. She is behind the scenes tonight. She is the one throwing up your questions and your comments, and she'll be moderating. She will be under abnormal investigations if you see her type. So a big thank you to Kaylee for everything she's doing behind the scenes tonight.
Hi, Kaylee. Thank you.
Makes makes it a lot easier. All right, so let's see here. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we jump right into this one? And I am going to put a warning out on this one. This may not be for everybody. Um, I know that it was pretty wild. Uh, so many things in this. Just I don't know how to explain it. They're dark, and it's like it's real world things that you're talking about here, and it really makes you think. I have
Right.
never really started a show off before with an intro. I usually start out with the name and everything, which I will do that tonight, but I was so heavily into this last night, and I laid down, and I think I talked to you up till 1:30, and I was
Hmm.
working on it after that, and I just I don't know, I felt like it deserved a I don't know what you would call it. It deserved an intro. And I got busy on that last night. And I think I've got a pretty good intro that will get everybody's minds to hopefully click in and think in. And if nothing else, um, make you do your own research and look into this, because this has a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to either. Um, there is some
Exactly.
things that happened that doesn't make sense to me. Um, but nonetheless, whatever he was dealing with was absolutely evil. And
Yes.
some of the things that happened to this man, how he stayed in that house after what happened to him, well, I guess at the end he didn't have a choice. But I mean, from what was it, 4 years of just
4 years.
torment,
Yes.
that would be terrible. I mean, could you imagine?
I can't.
It's and it's pretty popular, the Bell Witch, in the town of the Bell Witch. It's pretty much known to everybody in the town. It's not like it's
Yeah.
a secret up there. Um, I
No, there's
just
still relatives
well, it's
that live there.
wow, they're still there.
Relatives of the
So
family and also of the slaves that they had. Yes, still there.
so this goes pretty deep. And there's
Long
one of the
time.
monuments there that sits in the town right there. So I thought y'all might enjoy seeing a few photos as we talk about the case. So I guess let's kick this off if you don't have anything else, Lisa, and let's dive into this one.
No, I'm ready.
Here we go, guys. And if I miss any of your questions or anything, it's not my fault tonight. It's Kaylee's. All right, so let's get into this. So the intro I have for this, guys, I hope will get you all to thinking and kind of give you direction as to what we're presenting to you tonight. And I'm not going to call these stories, like I said, this channel is not a storyteller. We are a encounter and investigative channel. So if you're looking for stories, you're at the wrong place. We're looking at real cases, real investigations, and off the trail evidence. So today, we're going to explain the story of the Bell Witch and examine how similar themes of supernatural claims of deception continue to exist today, and discuss ways to identify individuals who might be hiding their true intentions. You've noted, and we've noted, that in some people, they might try to use clever wording or naming to conceal their true intentions while making it sound appealing. They often leave subtle hints or clues about their activities, and by being vigilant and paying attention to these details and using the discernment given to us by our Father Jesus Christ, we can potentially, and without doubt, uncover their true nature. For whenever you judge somebody by their fruits, they cannot be hidden, because they've been done in plain sight in front of everyone to see, and for everyone to go back and to judge us by our fruits is very important. For instance, some individuals might use certain symbols, jewelry, or clothing that reveal their true affiliations or intentions. Now, a lot of you might think that they do this just because of the evilness within their hearts or the evilness that they follow. But by the rules of their follower, which we all know who that is in the end, it is Lucifer, they must show what they are in some way. They must show the darkness into the light. As Jesus told us, all things done in the darkness will be brought to the light. So others might also use specific language patterns or terminology that give away their goals or motivations in an attempt to deceive. By being aware of these subtle signs and applying the principle of judging individuals by their actions and by their fruits, we can better protect ourselves and others from potential deception, possession, oppression, and attachments that come along with making agreements known or unknown with these type of individuals. And that's the intro that I have for y'all tonight. Anything you would like to add to that, Lisa, or did I give you any questions or anything?
No, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, things we have to watch out for in daily life, even today. And
Right.
use
So
discernment. That's all I know.
I think that's very important. And to judge them by their fruits, not by their words, their actions, or because deception, as we're going to talk about here in a little bit, is used widely by not only the Bell Witch, but other covenants around the world and other witches that use these tactics to try to deceive or to use that silver tongue. We got to be careful of that silver tongue, because we know Jesus was given up for 20 pieces of silver. So just remember that. So talking about the person in this case we're going to talk about, guys, which is pretty important person in the case, which would label, the offender would be Kate. The offense is she was allegedly a witch. The location that this happened was Tennessee. The victim in this was the Bell family. Now, the outcome, it did vow to unalive John Bell, and he died in 1821 from poisoning. And then it left, other than sporadic appearances that would happen in the home. the synopsis that I've got for this, which I like, I probably should use the word case study. I think that goes better with it. The Bell Witch story is famous American legend about a haunting that occurred in the early 19th century involving the Bell family in Tennessee. The haunting, attributed to an entity known as Kate, involved strange noises, physical attacks, and ultimately the death of a family member, patriot John Bell, making it one of the most documented paranormal events in American history. Well, Tennessee, looks like y'all got something going on up there for you. I don't know if y'all are lucky or cursed to have her in your state. The Bell Witch is one of the most famous and horrifying legends in American folklore, centering around the Bell family in Adams, Tennessee. Now, during the 19th century, the legend describes a series of mysterious and often malevolent supernatural events that plagued the family and their homestead in the Red River area. The entity known as the Bell Witch is said to have possessed a sinister intelligence capable of communicating, moving objects, and even enacting violence. This chilling tale of a poltergeist activity, ghostly voices, and the untimely demise of John Bell has solidified the Bell Witch legend as a spine-tingling and enduring piece of Tennessee's cultural and history. So this story has a pretty unique beginning, it really, if you ask me. And the reason I say that is because it did not start out the way I imagined that this would start. I thought this story was going to be a lot like they live in this house, a witch got mad at them, a witch started attacking them. But really, that's not how it really started. And that's going to give us a unique look at this tonight, because it's not what you would suspect. Or maybe it is what you would suspect. You know, it's one of those where it's really hard to determine exactly what may have done this. Now, the one thing that we do know, and I think this is going to be pretty interesting to you guys. So let me give you an idea of how this started real quick. So in 1817, guys, John Bell, which his wife was Betsy, and their children started experiencing strange supernatural occurrences. One evening, for example, John encountered an unusual creature in his cornfield. Now, the beast was unlike anything I'd ever heard or seen of before. I've never heard of this, guys. This is a new beast on me, a new cryptid, because you'll see it's nothing I've ever heard of. And I think later on I do have a pretty good idea as to why, and we'll see if Lisa agrees with me. But he ran into this unusual creature in his cornfield, and the beast was unlike anything he had ever seen before. Now, instinctively, they say, John fired a shot at this creature. So John's out in this dark cornfield, guys, and he's walking around in this cornfield with this rifle, and I guess he's cleaned it, and he's wanting to make sure it works. And just a little thing where I investigate, guys, there's also a very large cornfield, so this kind of resonated with me. But he's out in this cornfield, and he's walking around in the dark, which, man, that takes a lot of guts, because I've been in a cornfield at night, and he sees a beast like something he's never seen before. Okay, John was an avid outdoorsman. He was a hunter, a fisherman. He knew the animals of the area. So John sees something that he has no idea what it is. So put yourself in John's shoes. You're out walking at night in a cornfield, and you see something that you've never seen before. And he says whenever he looks over at this creature, he fired a shot at it because it scared him that bad. Now, what he was looking at was mysterious because it was hiding in the shadows at first. And how many times have we saw that on the Boots on the Ground, to where these creatures will use the shadows to conceal themselves? Now, according to the legend of the Bell Witch, John Bell Sr. he saw a strange creature in the cornfield in the Adams, Tennessee area. Now, this is 1817 that he described as having. Now, here we go, guys. This is going to be important as we go down through here because as I investigated, I found some pretty cool things about this. And I think me and Lisa's worked on this for about 2 weeks. So, guys, this is a 2-week investigation. Y'all are getting in about 2 hours, probably. So,
Right.
the appearance that he described that he's seen was the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit. So let me throw this up here, guys, and you just imagine you're walking around in a cornfield at night with your new gun, and you see this creature that has the body of a dog or a wolf and the head of a rabbit. So, what is causing this? It's almost like there was something already out there, right?
Right.
Yeah, Sunshine's right. Cornfields in the broad daylight are a little scary. So, I mean, it's just, to me, very unusual if that would happen. The beast was described back then as a hybrid creature. They cited it as a large dog-like animal with a rabbit's head. Some accounts also said, this is where it gets a little bit different, it was a wolf, but the rabbit-dog hybrid was the original description. So John ended up seeing this creature on more than one occasion. And I don't know if you was able to find that, Lisa, but there's going to be a little bit of a discrepancy as to what I believe it was. Scared Silly says, makes me wonder what the rabbit-looking thing was. Yeah, well, we all know what that was, Scared Silly. It was Sarah in her rabbit suit out there. No, we don't know what that was.
I can add
Since
what.
then.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that Dee, on Dee's Dark Adventures, she also encountered the same looking thing that I did.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Cherry, I don't know if he did or not.
I was just going to add that in the books that were referenced in the video, I found some references to this dog-like creature, this hybrid. I don't know what it is, but in the book A Mysterious Spirit, page 23, quote, "It looked like a dog, yet on close inspection, he could not determine what species it belonged. He shot at the animal, which at once disappeared." In the other book, the reference to this creature, the Authenticated History, page 265, 266, quote, Old Mr. Bell said to my father, also John Johnson and others, that the first unaccountable object that attracted his attention was a large, strange-looking animal resembling a dog. He walked out to the field to see if the fodder was ripe enough to gather. I guess he was on his way out there anyway. He then reached the middle of the field to find the creature sitting in the row, staring at him intently. He walked closer, but the dog, as he thought it to be, didn't move, which surprised him. He then began shooting at it. The creature then ran, which he then realized the creature was so uncommon looking, he was sure that there was no other dog like it in the country. So that tells you how rare looking that animal was.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to go into the fine wording of that, and that actually kind of answers a question that I had. And I think that what you just said may give some clarification to that, because if you read the initial part, it states that he had fired at the creature and the creature had then disappeared. After the creature was fired at and disappeared, that would almost lead a person to believe that the creature was supernatural.
Right. I
If
found
you
different
go
accounts.
and you listen,
Mm-hmm.
right, because of what you're saying is after he fired, the creature had disappeared and then he seen it
It
again and
ran.
continued to shoot at it. So, right. So whenever he's saying disappeared, is he meaning supernaturally disappearing, or does he mean it disappeared into the cornfield? Because
Like
it
quickly.
almost sounds like, right, like, I shot at it and it just disappeared into the corn. Like,
Right.
and, that makes you wonder, okay, so was it displaying supernatural attributes, or was it just hiding into the field and was fast moving? Because we do know that these creatures are super, super fast. And, but then and again, whenever you use simple logic, you know that there's not a normal wolf running around out their body with a rabbit head. So
Right.
that also, there's at least a hybrid anomaly, right?
Right. He said the creature was so uncommon looking that he was sure there was no other dog like it in the country.
So
So he describes it as a dog, but it was so uncommon
what if,
looking, it shocked him. I can imagine.
do you think it could have been a dog man, and maybe the head wasn't a rabbit, it was a dog man's, but it was more disfigured, or because it wasn't a normal looking dog and he didn't know how to explain it, or you think it really had the rabbit head?
I don't know, because he does not mention a rabbit head in these books,
Well,
the quotes from the book.
right.
So I don't know.
That's so strange, because in the epiphathy that I found, it said that he had described it as a wolf body, larger than the normal wolf. It was larger, and it displayed a rabbit's head. But then he has a second sighting of this, and that's where it's going to get really, really interesting, because on his second sighting, it's not the same. Well, it is the same, but not the same thing. Because it was just, it made a lot of people think, what did he really see out there in the cornfield? They said between 1817 and 1821. It made me wonder, when I first read this, it made me wonder, and you tell me if this makes sense to you. Was it the witch that was after him? Or was it what he shot at in the cornfield? Did he piss something off at him that wasn't the witch, but because the witch was mad at him, he thought it was the witch? Or was it the witch that conjured up what was in the cornfield and sent it after him?
It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it kind of happened around the same time.
Right. So was she able to conjure something up to come after him? Because the only thing that I can see that would be that would make that a possibility is because it says, whenever I was reading, they were having supernatural occurrences happening in the home before he encountered what he encountered in the cornfield. So the cornfield wouldn't have been the beginning of the problem. The cornfield, I think, was just where it ramped things up, because they said they were already experiencing supernatural things at the home. So things were already going on.
Mm-hmm.
But because he went to the cornfield and then shot at it, and I done a little research on cornfields, and I think you all will find this pretty interesting. Witches and warlocks are attracted to cornfields. Okay? I thought that was weird. But whenever you do the investigative work on it, there is actually a pretty good reason for that. Corn is a great conductor of energy. At nighttime, corn releases a significant amount of energy into the air. Cornfields have been known to be 20 to 30 degrees hotter than the environment around them, also heating the sky. So witches, warlocks need an energy source to be able to manipulate it. And the reason I believe that they need to do that is because Jesus is the creator. He created everything. The only thing the enemy can do is corrupt it. So this cornfield has this energy that's already there. So the witches need this energy to be able to manifest whatever they're doing. Astral projection, their spells, their whatever they're doing. And if you're looking for a significant place of energy, a cornfield is perfect. Matter of fact, if you go back and look at why they made the movie Children of the Corn and why the devil was there, is because of the energy of the cornfield. Cornfields produce energy. And we use corn today for energy, ethanol. Corn is a major source of energy. And if the devil can't create something, he has to find what's already created and then bend it or use it to his advantage, which they are part of him. They're a follower of him. That was the only thing that I could find in that.
That's interesting. Makes sense.
I mean, my mind goes there whenever I get into these kind of investigations, because to me, there had to be a reason that not only this cornfield, but other cornfields around the world are hot spots. It's not just this cornfield. Where did most of the crop circles happen? Cornfields and wheat fields, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Both of those, right? And both of those are what? They produce heavier amounts of heat than their environment. Why is a reason that they do that? What do you have to do to grow food? You have to fertilize it. Everybody knows fertilizer naturally causes heat. That's why whenever you bale hay in the summer and you bale a field and you get manure in it mixed with the grass and everything, and it rains on it, you put it in the barn, it'll catch on fire and burn the barn down.
Yes.
It's a natural source of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Children of the Corn, what was it? Boogeyman or whatever it was, the little guy that flies off the thing every so many years. A lot of movies and crop circles happen in cornfields. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, does it make sense to you? Or it could be something simple. I mean, we could look at it as a simple side too. We could say, okay, maybe it has nothing to do with the energy of the cornfield. Maybe this creature that's in the cornfield is an apex predator. He is part of the fallen angels, which I do believe that either way. And he has a higher intelligence than most animals. So maybe he's just hiding in the cornfield for the stealth of it, and he knows that other animals in the area are going to come to the cornfield to get something easy to eat, and when they come to eat, he catches them and eats. Dinner comes to him. He doesn't have to chase it. I don't, that could be a simple thing.
It's a good theory. Yeah.
What's your thoughts,
Make it easy on him.
ma'am?
Make it easy on himself.
Right. I just,
Wonder if the same goes
I
for
mean,
tobacco fields, because this area was known for growing tobacco.
I don't know.
It's not the same biological makeup as corn would be, but I don't know. I didn't hear anything about
But
anything hiding in a tobacco field, but I don't know.
T-Bone says Jeepers Creepers. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too. Donna says, the crop circles were demonic. I believe they were demonic also, Donna, because I believe that the aliens are demonic. J.D. Vance kind of slipped up, didn't he? And he said they were demonic. So I think that's pretty interesting. I think a good corroboration of that is later in the same year, other strange animal manifestations were reported, including, now here we go, this is where it starts getting really weird. A large bird on a fence seen by his son. They saw this large looking bird, right, that they had never seen before. And they also saw a black dog. It was seen by one of the servants, saw a black dog that manifested and then unmanifested in front of him. And the large bird. So that immediately, when I heard about the black dog, hello, Amanda. Good to see you. Glad you made it in tonight. So good to see you. So the black dog, Lisa, the Girl Scout murders, there was a black dog. What happened in the Girl Scout murders? They said there was a shapeshifter in the Girl Scout murders.
Right.
There's a black dog that appears here. So I started saying, okay, there's something going on here. There is a pattern. Why is this black dog showing up, right? It's because I'll tell you later in our closing arguments as we go further into it. But yeah, I think the black dog has a significant part of this story, and I think he has one in the Girl Scout murder case. I believe that it goes back to Native American folklore, people would call it. I don't believe it's all folklore. I believe that there is substance to it. Unsettling events continued to unfold at the Bell family, with his son Drew then spotting another peculiar bird. So these weird birds start showing up now. And then Betsy, she sees something that really bothered everybody. And I think right now, what we're getting into is something, Jackie, thank you so much for that. God bless you for that. I think there is something. This is where I leave the farm, okay? Because, they're seeing wild birds, and he saw the rabbit-looking thing. But then Bessie, she sees a lifeless body of a young girl clad in green dress hanging from the trees in the nearby forest. So now things are really starting to, I don't even know how to say it. You're starting to see things that are evil. There's nothing good that's happening around. You're starting to see things that are not of God, for sure. But my question, I guess, that I'm going to ask you, Lisa, and then I'm going to let you have it a little bit so I don't get past any notes that you have, because I know you put a lot of time into this also. So don't let me jump ahead of you.
Okay.
Could this have been a possible shape-shifting shaman witch, which are all pretty much the same thing? Is that why we're seeing so many different creatures, is because it was shape-shifting into different things? Do you think that's a possibility in this case, that we had a shaman, witch, shapeshifter doing this? Is that what
I think
happened?
I think that's a big possibility, because these creatures had not been seen before, as far as I was able to tell in my research. It just started happening, and they started seeing all these different creatures around the farm. Um, I think it started with the dog with the rabbit head, but I did find that the bird that the son saw was sitting on a fence, and what I found was that it was described as owl-like, but with fur instead of feathers. So I thought that was
Well,
kind of strange.
owls are a big thing in Native American shapeshifting and other stories.
Right. He said
Yeah.
that the bird, he thought it was a turkey at first. It was that big. Said it was of extraordinary size. So an owl-like bird with fur instead of feathers is what I found that he saw. And
Owl like with fur.
yeah,
So what you found was kind of what I was fixing to hop into, because, Drew Bell, the son of John Bell, spotted a bird that he initially thought was a turkey or just a bird at first. But upon closer inspection, it was of extraordinary size and unlike any bird he had ever seen. It had fur on it that reminded him of the fluffy fur on a puppy. So
hmm,
that reminded me of something, because whenever you go down, Betsy says that she also saw this bird. But what she describes as the bird is a very large bird that reminded her of a crane, but it was larger, with a long bill, long sharp talons. So when I read that, you tell me, Lisa, if this doesn't take you to this story, because I just automatically went to this. You remember when we had the guest on our show, it talked about the Thunderbird and it being spiritual?
right.
Are they seeing a Thunderbird?
Hmm, could be.
Be, you know,
I don't. I don't think they
because,
had any reference to a thunderbird back then.
right,
They wouldn't have known even what to call it, I guess.
right. Like what Nanny Pam says, an owl with fur. She's like, that's scary. You know, okay. So was the reason the owl had the fur? Is it because the owl was transforming from a dog to the bird? Is this a shapeshifter that we're watching? But and I'm not taking away from the witch, because we know that witches do that, and in different folklore, witches are shapeshifters, etc. So is that what's going on here? Is there a shapeshifter? Because one of the sightings, the bird was perched on the fence. It was massive, and one time, whenever they describe it, it's massive, and then it's described as a very large owl-looking bird. As Drew approached it, it did fly away, and here you go. This is what gave me my thought right here, Lisa. Its wings, as it flapped, sounded thunderous. I think so too, Amanda. That's what I'm thinking too.
Oh, wow.
They said its wings sounded thunderous as it flew away over the cornfield.
That's a massive bird then.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's like Big Bird and not off of Channel 11 either. I mean, that's that is but here we go. This is where it gets weird. And yes, I did double check this to make sure that what I was going to tell y'all is correct. This was one of several strange shape-shifting apparitions. That's not my words. That's the words of the encounter, of the story. Now, here's the weird thing. We had the dog, or the wolf body with the rabbit head. But whenever he saw it the second time, the second encounter that he had with this creature, it had a dog head and a rabbit body. And then the woman in the green dress that marked the beginning of the Bell Witch haunting arrived shortly after.
The one that Betsy saw.
The green plaited dress, yeah, the one that was hanging in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
She really starts to make her presence after this. So why do we have a creature that first shows up with a wolf body, rabbit head, then next time he sees it, it's got a dog's head and a rabbit body? What's going on with that? Now, I could bring Mom on here, which we wouldn't have time for that tonight because she's got a lot of information on when she grew up, and she could sit here and tell y'all so many bizarre things that happened at her house that would not even make sense to you either. So a lot of this really resonates with me because I know that this stuff happens. The question is just why, what, and what is it, right? Why does it? I'm going to ask you, Lisa. Why do you think? Why would one time it have a dog's head and a rabbit's body, and then have a rabbit's head and a wolf's body? Why would it show up so differently both times?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if it would have been like the same creature transforming from one thing to another, or a totally separate creature. I don't know.
Right. Or is it in, like what you said, is it in the process of its transformation? Or we could throw this in there too. Is it doing this just to scare you? Is it like, okay, the rabbit head last time wasn't good enough, so maybe if I put a wolf head on a rabbit body, I don't know. It's, do you know, Mom? We'll see if Mom's got an opinion. Do you have an opinion? She said she thinks maybe just totally two weird different things. Maybe
Two separate creatures.
those were, and maybe they had a baby, and that's what you see sometimes. One of their babies has a rabbit head, the other one has a wolf head.
Oh wow. That
Lynn
could
Blevins,
be,
I agree with that also. Right, and like what Lynn Blevins says, maybe it's the shapeshifter. It sounds that way. Now, we're getting to a part, guys, where I'm not going to lie to y'all. This is where it really starts taking a twist, and I would have moved out of there. I think I even told Lisa one night, I called her and we were talking, discussing it, and I said, I almost I did just quit working on it that night, because when you really get to thinking about this, guys, this is going to get to be some freaky stuff coming up, because after all this has happened, not that what's happened isn't freaky, right? We're not calling it normal. This is definitely abnormal. I mean, it definitely fits the channel. But where we're taking this here in just a little bit is really going to go abnormal, because the apparition of the young girl in the green dress is one of the most famous early signs of the Bell Witch haunting. And details of Betsy's Bell's sighting included. And what I done is I PowerPointed some of these. Betsy spotted the girl near the family property in Adams, Tennessee, specifically under a large oak tree near the road. we know back then, guys, that oak trees had a significance in, find a rope. So could that have been why she was at the oak tree? But then there is another version, and I hope I pronounce this right. The Macabre, does that sound right to you? Version, Macabre,
Macabre?
Macabre, Macabre, or Macabre something. It's Macabre for anybody wanting to look it up. But I'll give you the redneck spelling. We're going to call it Macabre. It tells a little bit different story about this. It says most of the dark retelling state that she saw a lifeless body of a young girl swinging in an oak tree limb by her neck, appearing to have been hung. Now, was this a demon or a shapeshifter? We're still debating on that. But the playful version, which is another version of this story, accounts a little bit of a softer lore to this story, stating that the girl just appeared to be playfully swinging from the branches on a swing sitting underneath the oak tree. Now, depending on which version you believe, does it really make a difference to the story? I don't think so, because either way, you have a ghost, which is an unalived person, which is a demon. I don't believe in ghosts, but it's a demon. So you have something that is a demon. If it's swinging in a swing set or swinging from a rope, it's still a demon. This ain't the pecani sauce commercial. Get a rope. New York City. I think either way, you're dealing with the same entity. I don't know that there's any significance in why it was there. I think the point is it was there. What do you think, Lisa? What are your thoughts on that? Or is there a significance to how that would be there?
I don't know. It definitely seems like it would be a demon entity to me, and for it to show itself, a young girl, it's just evil. I'm not sure what to think about that girl.
Cheryl says it.
But there is another girl that.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, Cheryl said that she saw someone hanging from a tree and it scared her really bad in the chat.
I can imagine. It's
So
horrifying.
It's not something that I would want to see for sure.
I did find some information on another girl that was seen, and this is from one of the books I mentioned earlier. It said a spirit demon of a female is quoted as saying, "I am the spirit of the person who is buried in the woods nearby, and the grave has been disturbed. My bones disinterred and scattered, and one of my teeth was lost under this house, and I'm here looking for that tooth." So could there be more than one female entities around this farm? I mean,
it almost sounds like
mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like they plowed the field maybe to plant the corn and tore up the grave and spread her everywhere maybe and then built a house on it. I don't know.
Seems
That's
that way.
Though.
I don't know. I think the witch probably conjured up a lot of different things, honestly. And
she had it out for him so much that, because witches also scatter bones, right? When they do their spells, they like to scatter bones.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, it says, in variations where her siblings were present, the temperature in the forest would plummet drastically right after the sighting. When the children would run home to tell their parents, the family initially didn't even believe them. So I've had that happen to me on Boots on the Ground many times where I've told y'all it's got hot or it's got cold. My question is, I guess, why the cornfields? Where the civilized homesteads ends and the wild nature begins, are considered liminal spaces. You ever heard of that? Liminal spaces?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so witches believe in liminal spaces. Witches believe that they have power outside of the liminal space of where you live. Their goal is to try to get entry into your space where their supernatural can break through. So we know that I think they ended up accomplishing the breaking through because these eerie occurrences, I mean, they set the stage for the intensification of the supernatural phenomenon that would come to define the Bell Witch. I mean, that's pretty much what we're talking about because we know that she wasn't there to be their friend, right? And the
Definitely
next
not.
part of this is where things really start getting weird because the title of the next part of this, guys, that we're going to go into now is called When Things Go Bump in the Night. So for a lot of you that may want to sleep tonight, you may or may not want to listen to this part because this is where I was telling y'all it gets pretty wild. And I think Lisa's going to understand by the photos coming up what we're fixing to start discussing.
Now, going back to the liminal spaces, okay, for a second.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I looked it up for more official explanation of it. And as it relates to cornfields, it said it's on the edge of where wild nature begins, sits on the boundary of like a civilized homestead, but it's a transitional environment. And as it relates to paranormal, it's known as the thin places, a boundary where it's a boundary between the physical world and the other world, where it is weaker, making them prime locations for supernatural encounters. Um,
So you think that maybe it was weaker on the side of their property and stronger in the cornfield? Is that kind of what you're thinking? Or opposite?
I'm the way I understand that is that between the edge of the cornfield and the beginning of the forest, that's what they call the thin places, where the veil is
Uh-huh.
thinner, I assume, and it just it makes them prime locations for supernatural encounters.
Okay. So now I
So,
got a question for you.
mhm.
um, could that possibly be a reason why people that live in the country that's property either connects to government state property that they have more hauntings than other places because between their property and that property is a liminal line, and what's ever on the other side of that liminal line becomes interested in the new person on the other side, and then they try to gain entry to watch, as they say, the watchers. They become interested, and they want to come across that liminal line. Just, I mean, I think curiosity runs both in human and animal, right? Because even the watchers, the angels, when they were in the heaven, they had curiosity because that's what got them to liking the women, right? So
Right.
is there a curiosity as to when they see us that they're what they were made to do to watch takes over and they become fascinated?
I think it's possible, but I think it's more of a portal of sorts area. Um, According to this explanation of what it is, it's where the veil is thinner. So if this witch was conjuring things and specifically um, having it out for this family or this man,
Mhm.
maybe she activated something on that property. I don't know. And then
Or
these creatures
conjured up
appeared.
something.
Right.
So, like the circles I found in the woods, those could be conjuring places. And if there's not a home in the woods and there's not anybody living out there, so whatever you would bring into the woods, there theoretically wouldn't even be anybody there to rebuke it, right? So whatever was brought in or conjured would just be able to roam the woods, huh?
Absolutely.
That's a scary
Yes, I would
thought.
say so. Yes. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what those look
Yeah, we're
like
gonna
when you find them.
right. The
Is
perfect circles with their little drawings on them and sacrifices that they do.
yes, we
That's
found some of
yeah,
those.
yeah. So
Hmm.
this is the part, guys, where I think that you start wanting to leave. So mysterious sounds echoed through the house in the early hours of the morning, ranging from inexplicable knocking to the unsettling noises of rats chewing on the furniture. Except it wasn't a rat. Dogs would also bark and growl as if they were reacting to an unseen presence. How many of you out there have animals in your house that have reacted to something that you weren't able to see, but you were just sure that they could see something? Dogs would also bark and growl and act afraid. The family even heard chains being pulled along the floor. Now, one of the most scary encounters here, John Bell was laying in bed, guys, and I want you to picture this. He's laying in bed, going to sleep. As you can see in the picture there, to try to help you to depict it, he has his candle on, he's laying down, he's falling asleep, and he starts hearing this loud gnawing of wood. And the first thing that runs through his mind is it's a rat. So he keeps hearing this crunch and this grind and this chewing, right? And he raises his head off his pillow and looks down toward his feet to make sure there's not a rat in bed with him chewing on his bed. And he sees the apparition of this little girl in a green plaid dress chewing on the footboard of his bed with splinters coming off the bed, her mouth bloody and blood running down the bedpost, staring at him as she's chewing on the bedpost, breaking her teeth and chewing chunks from the bedpost with blood all over it and in her mouth, staring at him.
Yes, that's
Imagine that.
nightmare fuel
Because,
right there.
and that's what he saw. I mean,
Mhm.
can you only imagine? And we're talking about a day where you're not going to pick the phone up and you're not going to call 911. You're in the middle of nowhere, in your home, backed up to a cornfield where you've already seen this rabbit headed, dog headed, wolf bodied, rabbit bodied creature with this girl that was either swinging under a tree. Well, she was swinging under a tree either way. And you're having all these things going on. And now you have this chewing on the end of your bed, and you're physically seeing her hearing the teeth break, seeing the wood, the blood, and she's just staring at you intently as she continues to just break her teeth and chew through the wood of the footboard of your bed. I mean, a million things had to run through his mind at that point. Is she going to reach up and grab me? Is she going to jump on me? Is she going to attack me? You know, what's she going to do now that I've noticed her? I mean, what would be running through your mind at that moment?
Definite demon.
Even, right. And even the chat, guys, what would be running through your mind? I mean, what would you do, Lisa, if you was asleep and witnessed that?
No, I don't think I could move, for one. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, there's, like you
And
said, there's no one to call.
right.
I don't know. That's just really scary. I can't
And, you
even
know,
imagine.
we're just sitting here talking about it, and we don't even know what to say. Imagine what he went through actually experiencing it. That
Right.
had to be terrifying. Y'all would think that it got better from there, right? Oh no, it doesn't.
No. Definitely not.
No. One of my questions is, though, why in a lot of these stories do we always hear of the 3 knocks?
Yes,
Because I'm
3
going to tell
seems to
y'all.
be. I mean, what I've heard is that 3 knocks or anything like that to do with supernatural or demonic activity is mocking the Trinity.
Right. Well, I have a
So as
story
it
to tell you
relates,
guys.
mm-hmm.
I'll share a true story with you guys. So, I'm not going to give no names, just out of respect to the family. There was a man that had kids that lived in a house not far from here. Decided one night to take his life. His plan was to take the life of his wife and kids. Luckily, they did not come home that night, and he ended up just taking his own life. After he took his life, they were living in the home, and his thing was at nighttime at 10:30, he would reach back and knock on his wall 3 times and yell for his kids, time for bed. They said every night at 10:30 they would hear the 3 knocks. So they sold the house. Another person moved in there and they said they heard the same thing. So the 3 knocks kind of reminded me of that story. And as we go on into some of these encounters that Mr. Bell encountered, the photos I think will help kind of tell the story where we're headed, because it does get pretty wild. Is there anything you want to add to that, Lisa, before we move on to this nightmare?
Well, you mentioned things that go bump in the night, and you mentioned the knocking and some of the other sounds that they were hearing. I also found other things that they heard.
Ooh.
Vicious dogs fighting. Chairs would fall over. Furniture was thrown. The sound of large stones dropping and slamming against the hardwood floors. Raspy, gurgling breaths akin to death rattle breathing. Beastly growls and snapping teeth beside them. That's scary. The sound of
Yeah.
flapping wings against the ceiling. So there's your owl thunderbird. Betsy thrown from the bed, hair pulled, slapped, punched, poked with invisible pins, and voices calling their names. There was a
So you're
lot of
talking about
activity.
so you're talking about torment, literal torment.
Yes, absolutely.
They were
Absolutely.
being tormented in their own home.
Physically, psychologically, absolutely.
Why why do we hear the chains in all these stories? Why do they always talk about chains? Is it because the fallen angels were chained? Is that what that's about? I don't know.
Hmm.
You know?
I don't know what the chains are
It,
all about.
you
I
know,
don't know.
it says, the family's sleep was further disrupted as their bed linens and pillows were abruptly snatched away. This entity, it seemed, also possessed the ability to speak. Initially, the voice was pleasant enough to demonstrate a knowledge of Scripture. Guys, I want to focus on this if we can right now. Listen to me if you have ever listened to me before. This is important. I want you to take heed to this. It possessed the ability to speak pleasantly and enough to demonstrate a knowledge of Scripture. Okay? Have you ever
Right.
known anybody, guys, that whenever you would talk to them, they were a different person, but whenever they were caught in the wrong or something and wanted to be the victim, that they went to this like little poor me voice? I'm the little 16-year-old schoolgirl that got her heart broke, and they cry to try to get away with it, to try to get that sympathy because they know they're not as innocent as what they're trying to betray themselves to be, and they know that people can prove that. But yet,
Right.
they do the same thing that Satan done. Satan disguised himself as an angel of light. Satan knows Scripture probably better than any of us because he was there when it happened. He was in the presence of God. He was there. So whenever they have the ability to demonstrate, to speak as if they were pleasant, and to speak Scripture, doesn't mean they're nice. It means they're deceptive. You'll hear more about that in a little bit. However, and now guys, this is where it changed. However, it soon became insulting to John, meddling in Betsy's relationships and hurling racial slurs at Belle's black slaves. There is where the Bible shows that God's word is not a lie. Okay, guys? Let's go back and look at what we're talking about. You have something that is inherently evil. It has been caught doing something evil, but it's narcissistic and it wants to blame something else for what it was caught doing. So it speaks pleasantly, it speaks softly, it cries these big tears, wants you to feel sorry for it because that's how it's deceiving you, because you're feeling sorry for it, even though the fruits that it's showing you is it's trying to destroy what it cannot control. Remember that, guys. So what you have is a deceiving demon that is hiding and using your Christian heart to deceive you because inside you're a good person and you want to give everybody a chance. But in reality, you're being deceived because it knows what it's doing the whole time. Because even though it's putting on this fake persona of a good person, of a pleasant person, of a well taught Christian of God's word, it is still in its actions of its fruits. It is still destroying, attacking, and trying to kill whatever it cannot control. What did he come to do, guys? He come to kill, steal, and destroy. And he'll do it through tears of deception, or he'll do it through a smile of narcissism. That's where discernment and the Holy Ghost have to come into your life. You've got to discern these things and see them for what they are. Because the Bible, true in its word, as you go further down, it says, however, later is whenever it started hurling racial slurs at Bell's black slaves, meddling in Betsy's, insulting and hurting them. So as the Bible says, the things done in the darkness will be brought to the light. Even though it is deceiving you with the tears, the crocodile tears, the little 16-year-old broken heart, knowing that it's not as innocent as it portrays to be, trying to destroy what it cannot control, later as it goes down the road, it has to show you what it really is, because that's what God demands of it. It has to show you. So it comes out into the light, and you see it by its fruits. By its fruits it shall be judged. It's trying to destroy everybody it can't control. It's hanging out with people that are inevitably evil. Everywhere you see chaos, division, fighting, gossip, slander, you name it, whatever, you will see the same names. As the old saying goes, show me their friends and I'll show you who they are. Do not be deceived, guys. I can't say it enough. Sorry, I got a little bit off there, but man, it just hit me. Even the enemy knows the words and disguises himself as an angel of light. So many people speak of linens being messed with and pillows. So you have a story that affected you, right, Lisa? And if you want to tell it, you can tell it. If you don't want to, you don't have to tell it. I would never force you. Would you like to share that?
I will. Can I just go back real quick to the sleeping
Sure,
patterns
before I went off.
that was
Yeah.
disrupted? I did. So on the subject of sleep, I have previously studied the daily lives and routines of people in this time period. And I just wanted to include this here because I think it will provide some insight and context that in my research, I didn't find anyone else talking about as it pertains to this story. And it has to do with what is called double sleep, or as it's known today, biphasic sleep or segmented sleep, where people divide their sleep into two distinct time periods, which is still practiced in third world countries today. But it's where you sleep for 3 to 4 hours, known as first sleep. Then you wake and you're up for 1 to 2 hours. That's also known as the watch. And it's probably between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And during this watch period is where you would engage in quiet activities such as sewing, prayer, reading the Bible. You might also check on livestock, visit the outhouse, visit neighbors. And then they would go back to sleep for another 3 to 4 hours called second sleep. And then they would get up before the sun came up to start their day. So just imagine that this was your daily routine and you're being assaulted all through the night. These horrible things physically are happening to you. And then add to that the lack of lighting uh, and what all was involved just to produce light back then. They had to use flint and steel to light something and then light a candle. These people were, this happened all while they were being slapped and their hair was pulled and furniture's overturning. Voices are screaming insults in your face. This is the torment that these people were under. So I just wanted to add that for a little context. I think the sleep deprivation, the physical harm, the psychological torment, it was just all pure torture. Pure torture.
And you can't just run over and turn the light on. I mean, you got to hit a flint
No.
together. You got to get your light to light, and the whole time, like you said, you've been attacked, poked, pulled, teeth,
Right.
gnashing at you. That'd
Right.
be terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible,
It would
terrible.
be.
I'd cry.
I mean, and it was, all this is happening, and it's pitch dark in your house.
Yeah. That's like
And
worse than playing Murder in the Dark, right?
I don't know if
Did
I've
you ever
ever
play
played
that?
that before. I don't think so.
Really? Oh man.
No.
Yeah, that was a fun game. Yeah, we would get in a dark room and you'd put like a bunch of stuff in a hat and everybody would draw and one person was the murderer and nobody knew who. And they would walk up and pinch somebody and then you were murdered and then you would turn the light on and everybody would try to figure out who the murderer was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We used to play that as kids.
Oh, okay.
So you had something happen
I
to you,
will.
right?
Yes, I'll tell my story, and it has to do with my bed being messed with, like you mentioned. So this happened in the early '90s, I guess, and it was around 2 to 3 a.m. and I just finished a phone call. I was trying to get back to sleep, and then my comforter slid down off the end of the bed, which I thought was weird, but I got up, I picked it up, I put it back on the bed and tried to get back to sleep, but then it happened again. And I decided I wasn't going to get up and pick it up again. I just, no. So soon afterwards, I hear what sounded like, and this is the only way I can explain it, someone with a metal rod in their hand rapidly banging on the underside of my bed frame, going from the opposite side of the bed, all the way down, all the way across the bottom, up near my head, back down and around the bed 3 times. And here we go with the 3 times again. So I went and got my mom. She came and sat next to my bed and she read from the Bible and prayed until I fell asleep. And a lot of things happened in this house because we did mess with an Ouija board when we were much younger. And so, but this was probably the scariest thing that happened to me as far as my bed being messed with. So
Did it ever
it
talk or touch
happened.
you?
No, thank goodness, no.
It didn't visit with you.
No, no, not like this entity did.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to visit with it. So, surprisingly, guys, the witch seemed to take a liking to Betsy. Can you imagine? It was John who bore the brunt of the witch's animosity and endured years of torment. Finally, in December of 1820, John became deathly ill after his doctor found a vial containing an unidentified dark-colored liquid. The Bell Witch exclaimed, "It's useless for you to try to relieve." She called him Jack, is what I thought was weird. Old Jack. I have
It's a
got him
nickname
this
for
time.
John.
He will. Huh?
It's a nickname for John, like John Kennedy. They
Oh,
called him
okay.
Jack. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because she said, it is useless for you to try to relieve old Jack. I have got him this time. He will never get up from that bed again. I put it there and gave old Jack a big dose out of this last night while he was asleep, which fixed him. John passed away the following day. the witch largely disappeared from the Bells' lives thereafter, appearing only occasionally, but never tormenting the family again.
Well, I found something a little bit different about it
Now,
returning.
the picture the picture I threw up there is because he was pulled underneath the bed at one point. It did pull him under the bed. So I thought that was kind of, but my thing was he should have left long before that, right?
Oh, I would have moved for
So
sure.
what did you find?
Um, well, the poison. I'll start with that.
Uh,
I found that it was most likely arsenic. That's what was said.
mhm.
But his symptoms were horrible. Trying to find those notes right now, but anyway, as far as the witch, I found written that she left after he died, but she returned, said she would return 7 years later, which she did. And then she left saying she would return in 107 years, which would be 1935, but that she did not return. So I don't know.
Herbert or Lynn said that Betsy married her school teacher too.
She did.
Yeah, you would be, Sunshine. You would stay. You know you would. I had to give her trouble. A lot of the things that made me wonder was, could you imagine an entity being so mad at you that it was actually able to unalive you in your sleep? Not only was it tormenting you and chewing on your bed and doing things like that, it just unalived you. It poisoned you. And it told you 4 years prior that was the main goal and what it was going to do, and it achieved it. And one of my questions is this because he was the one that shot at it, or was it Kate, and that he owed her money? Because a lot of the theories is that he owed her money. It sounds like when the witch told them that she had poisoned him, and I got this from the story, it sounds like whenever the witch said, "Hey, I poisoned old Jack. You're not going to be able to save old Jack. He'll never get out of that bed again." It's almost makes it sound like the witch is right. I almost said the other word. The witch is right there in the middle, conversating with the people like it's familiar. It's like it's okay that she told them, "Well, I poisoned old Jack." It wasn't like, "Oh my God, a witch showed up and she scared us and we all ran and she was screaming at shit." It's just like she showed up and just nonchalantly said, "Old Jack ain't getting up this time." I mean,
Right.
did she become so familiar? Okay, here you go. Did Betsy take a liking to the witch? And was she visiting with the witch? And is that why she wasn't afraid of the witch when the witch came and said that? I don't know.
Now Betsy is the daughter,
I mean,
and she was tormented. I think you mean Lucy, the wife,
or Lucy.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So couldn't you take that a different way? Could you not say, what if John was a bad man? And what if John was mean to Lucy Ed was mean to Kate, and that's why Kate took a liking to Lucy, and Lucy to Kate, and maybe they worked together to get rid of old Jack. I mean, I don't know. It's just a theory, right?
Well, I mean, I heard that the whole problem that Kate Batts had with John was over a land discrepancy. And I think
Mhm.
part of it was a slave sale, but she felt that he had um, owed her money from that he tricked her or something like that.
Right.
And so Kate Batts had a beef with John Bell. And then the entity calls itself Kate.
Right.
So is that a coincidence
Hmm.
or?
Right. Yeah. It's so many questions. And Sunshine, thank you so very much for that. God bless you for that, Sunshine. I appreciate that a lot. Um, that was the only thing that I would, there is so many questions, and that so many questions, Lisa. If you don't have anything to add there, this is your all's favorite part of the story. This is where we go beyond the story. That what we found beyond the story after investigating the story, and I think you're going to find this interesting. You have anything you'd like to say before we go beyond the story, Lisa?
Well, just to describe John's illness, it said that he suffered an affliction that greatly affected his mouth, tongue, and jaw muscles, and that he said that it felt like as if a stick had been placed sideways in his mouth, that the entity would slap him during his seizures, remove his shoes when he walked.
My
He
God.
would find himself suddenly assaulted by a sharp slap in the face and writhe in pain while complaining that his sides felt like someone was poking him with pins. Um, yeah. I also have an account. Um, let's see. 1 second. Well, let's go ahead and I'll add it a little later.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, guys, we're going to take you beyond the story. Sunshine. She has such a way of putting words. She said, "You may be right, Mike. He may have had that mouth shut up since he was not using it correctly." Good night, Amanda. You have a great night. It was good to see you, Amanda. I hope to see you on the next one tomorrow night. So, beyond the story, guys, the haunting is attributed to an invisible entity named Kate, believed to be linked to the local woman known as Old Kate Batts. Legend says Old Kate Batts cursed the Bell family because of personal dispute of grudges with John Bell and his household. Reports claim she resented unpaid debts, insults, and threatened revenge. So I researched Kate just to try to show that she was a real person. She was indeed a real person. Kate did exist. And I have a photo here of Kate's actual grave to give you all just an idea of. No, this may not be Kate's. It might be Betsy's. But she does exist. I did look her up. She was a real. No, that's Kate's. Yeah. And she did exist. She was a real local woman in the early 19th century of Robertson County, Tennessee, commonly linked to folklore to the Bell Witch legend. Contemporary accounts and later retellings describe her as a solitary, sharp-tongued neighbor who had disputes with John Bell, But she also had a lot of disputes with other neighbors also. It said she was a really hard person to get along with.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had rumored to practice folk remedies. She used a lot of folk remedies and possibly engaged in petty witchcraft of hexing at first and then moved on to stronger witchcraft of becoming a well-known strong witch as portrayed in local oral tradition. She was first noted as being a witch when she was caught in the collection of bugs, which is a telltale sign of a witch. Frequently accused in folklore of having cursed the Bell family after quarrels over money, insults, perceived debts. And again, she was collecting bugs. And it says back in the 19th century and even today, the collection of bugs is a telltale sign of a witch. Why did the witch like Lucy? No, sorry, correction. Why did the witch like Betsy, the younger daughter? She was a young woman that fit the poltergeist witch motive of targeting the vulnerable, prominent household members. Betsy was young and often alone. People with large hearts, young at age, that feel sorry for people, like we talked about earlier, are easier to deceive. That's why they believe that she was targeted. If you need me to stop at any time, Lisa, just holler at me so I don't pass anything. What did John and what was John's interactions was something that I really wanted to know because, like what Lisa said, these entities, guys, when they get into your house, they can touch you, and as we see with old Jack here, unalive you. He had what they called verbal confrontations. The spirit is said to have spoken to John, answered him, insulted him, and at times argued with him, and it would argue with visitors. I thought that was really interesting, often using profanity and mocking his authority. And man, can you imagine? It's even arguing with visitors, guys. Can you imagine that? That's crazy. And then mocking him and his authority. Now, the physical torment that I was able to find, Lisa, was accounts that claim he was slapped, pinched, and struck by unseen hands. Some stories even describe bruises and injuries attributed to the spirit. He even felt something setting on his chest, choking him at times. John, it says, did attempt to resist the entity. And Michelle, you're going to find this interesting. John allegedly tried to fight back, shouting, confronting the voice, ordering it away, and inviting ministers and neighbors to witness these events. These attempts were reportedly witnessed by not only visitors, but also ministers in the area that attempted to get rid of it and stop the entity, but was unable to stop it or rid the house of it.
Right.
Why? Why couldn't they get rid of it? What was allowing it to stay there?
I don't know.
The prophecy and death. You know, the entity supposedly told John that it was going to cause his death. John later fell ill and died 4 years later. His death was, and I think this is important, guys, on his death certificate, Herbert, you're going to love this one. His death was attributed to the witch's actions. Tell me that's not weird.
The first one in American
but we
history.
are talking.
Yeah, what I found.
Is that not crazy?
I think the
first
only
one in American history.
Not just the
Yeah,
first
you're right.
one, but the
Exactly.
only one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the first and only death ever attributed to a witch's actions. And I think the reason that happened is because you had visitors, witnesses, and ministers that witnessed it. I mean, it's pretty hard to say that nothing happened whenever, you know, you have those kind of people witnessing these events, right? I mean, it's not like you can hide it anymore. There's definitely something, you know, something's going on. So
in fact, I found that he had a friend named James Johnson who he invited to stay the night to witness what was going on. and that he tried to sleep. The entity woke him up. He finally got tired of it, and he got up and rebuked it. And he said, "In the name of the Lord, what are you? Who are you? What do you want? And why are you here?" And at first it calmed down, but then when James offered up a prayer for the family, the entity went into a sudden rampage, ruthlessly yanked covers off those in bed, mimicked James's prayer in his own voice, began referring to James as old sugar mouth, began quoting scripture and reciting preachings word for word that had been preached at two nearby churches that sat 13 miles apart. And it said that James would engage in debates, religious debates, with this Kate entity, so that it would allow the Bells some sleep. He would sit there and debate with Kate all night long, just so they could sleep.
Good Lord.
I also,
Lynn says the ministers were targeted also, is what Lynn just said in chat. He said the minister was also targeted.
Yes.
So she was not only in the Bells' house, she was evidently either in the church or close enough to the church that she was hearing church going on.
Oh, yes. And people in the church would hear her sing hymns so beautifully, it said, that it brought them to tears. I thought
well,
was
we
strange.
know that, Satan was a beautiful singer and had instruments inside of his body, which I believe was his vocal cords.
Mm-hmm.
And,
She
angels are known for singing.
The entity, Kate, whatever, was known to sing beautifully. Brought everyone to tears that heard her.
Sounds like Satan. Sounds like Satan, don't it?
Yes, it sure does. Yeah. I also
the
found
instruments
that,
inside of him.
Oh, yeah, right. That's exactly right. I do have another visitor that everyone will know. It is heavily documented that in 1819, so this is 2 years into this haunting, that Andrew Jackson attempted to investigate this haunting, and he was a skeptic.
Oh, wow.
But he traveled from Nashville, where he was living, by wagon with a party in order to confront the witch or expose it as a fraud. As they approached the farm, their wagon wheels became locked and stopped on solid ground. The spirit allegedly mocked the group and offered to scare them more, to which Jackson exclaimed he would rather fight the British at New Orleans again than deal with the Bell Witch, causing him to conclude that the incident was in fact supernatural. So that's a quote from Andrew Jackson.
So what do you think was happening here?
I think the entity was able to do just about anything it wanted to. And
something
didn't
was
like visitors.
Ticked off. Something was very, very ticked off. I mean,
yes.
It makes you wonder what some of the conversations were that, we don't know what really happened to some of it.
Right.
Witness variations, friends and visitors are said to have heard, the voices, experienced phenomena when present, but many later accounts conflict was present and whether John John was there also. John saw apparitions on the property. A lot of people saw apparitions on the property. So I think it was
Right.
so widespread with so many corroborating witnesses that they really didn't have a choice but to put it on the death certificate this first and last time ever, because there's so much extenuating circumstances and proof here that, I mean, there really is no other plausible outcome, right?
Witness statements, it's all documented. Some of the
Right.
some of it, varies a little bit, but overall, there's so much evidence that you can't deny it, that it happened.
Right.
Also, there's continued activity today at this property. It's reported that strange creatures are seen to this day in neighboring communities and counties, and some near the Bell property itself. Locals claimed that these entities or creatures are responsible for cruel deaths of several pets in the area. And one deer hunter reported he was stalked in the woods, and the entity barred his escape by pushing a tree down in his path. So there's still strange things happening, terrible things happening to this day.
So this entity is very physical, right? It's not just sounds and noises. This thing is physical.
Sure.
You ready to
Slapping,
fire up the RV
pinching.
and go boots on the ground there, drag you into the bed?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That would
wow.
be interesting.
So, unless you have something else to add, I have another part that I want to go over with everybody. I think this is pretty interesting. You have anything else? I want you to be able to get everything out that you looked at.
Just the relationship between Kate and Lucy, John's wife. A little bit about her. First of all, Lucy has ties to Salem and the witch trials. An ancestor of Lucy's falsely accused someone of being a witch, which ended in their death. Lucy also has ties to Kate Batts. It's said that Lucy's sister was married to Kate's brother-in-law, who was the brother of her husband. So I thought that was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I do have a little bit to read on Kate and Lucy.
Okay.
Kate seemed to hold Lucy in high regard, even affectionately calling her Luce. While she was spared physical torment, Lucy was made to witness the suffering of her husband and children. So perhaps that was the witch's way of attempting to shatter her soul. I don't know. But when Lucy fell ill and was near death, Kate would bring her fresh fruits and nuts, grapes, hazelnuts, oranges, bananas, from foreign lands, because the no one around this area had seen fruits like this. And Kate would claim that they were from the West Indies. The nuts seemed to materialize from nowhere, falling into her lap from the ceiling. And when Lucy's strength waned, unseen hands would even break the nuts open for her. Lucy was able to regain strength by eating the food that Kate brought her. Kate would sing to her so melodically that those who heard were brought to tears, much like at the church that we talked about. If Lucy held a Bible study or a quilting circle, Kate would attend and again provide these fruits unknown to anyone in the area. Kate would also state that she would have brought wine, but that the preacher would not have approved. Kate would question Lucy about household duties and financial matters, and Lucy would often heed her advice. Kate would update Lucy on the welfare and happenings of her family in North Carolina, including her son Richard, who lived nearby. He told a story the next day he visited and talked about how he was sitting in a room reading and their front door opened and closed by itself. And Kate had told Lucy her son was home safe. He's at home reading. So that's exactly what he had been doing when the door opened and closed by itself. And it said that Kate also gave Richard's wife a pair of black stockings and asked her to be buried in them. And after John passed, Kate seemed to soften towards Betsy, telling Lucy to look after her. So it wasn't until John was gone that she achieved her goal, apparently. She softened up towards Betsy, who I think took the brunt of most of the abuse.
So, old Jack may not have been a good man, huh? Which doesn't, it still doesn't justify the witch. It still don't justify the witch either way, but.
Well, I'll add this, okay? I wasn't going to. But I did find, okay, since you mentioned this, okay, I did find a story where there was an affair between Kate and Jack, and that, I mean, John, and that he was going to repent and expose it. So,
Ooh.
Kate being a witch, could that have been motivation for her to start this haunting in order to permanently shut him up? I don't know.
You know, witches do use sex as one of their control methods.
Yes, I imagine they do.
So, oh, absolutely. I've done some research. So, getting into that, I went and I looked at some things and I looked them up to make sure that we were within margin of error, if you will. What are things to look for when exposing a witch or identifying a witch? Okay. Witches are known to hide behind Christianity, which sounds like this case a whole lot, doesn't it? She was speaking out of the Bible, singing hymns and so forth. So that seems to fit. They are known to wear chokers and symbols of protection, as in pendants and the use of rocks and minerals. Okay, so we know that's done within the cryptic field. I won't say no names, but them rocks can get pretty heavy. Witches are very controlling, and what they cannot control, they will try to destroy. They're very controlling. If they can't control it, then they will try to destroy it. Witches also dwell heavily on vengeance and are almost not able to forgive, which one of the commandments of Jesus was, you must forgive. Witches are unable to forgive and will always seek vengeance. Witches are also very deceptive, like what we talked about earlier, the 16-year-old girl that got her heart broke. But when you look at the fruits of her labor, you can see that she's really not what she's pretending to be. They love black cats. Evidently, that's not just in the cartoons and stuff. Witches really do have black cats. And the reason they have black cats is they believe that they bring them good luck, and they are also protectors of them. They will also eat you. They are very interested in energies and the spiritual realm. Most witches you will find will be very interested in ghosts, spirits, the spiritual realm, and energies. They'll be in like any kind of energy, spirit, witch, anything like that, they will be very interested in. And they will also be believers in ghosts and not demons. They will believe in ghosts. They have fascination with magic or movies and books based on magic or magical events, even if it involves plays, dressing up, or even pretending themselves. They will keep journals or records of people for later spells and attacks if necessary. They will have altars. They will use astral projection. They will surround themselves with other witches, which they would call covenants. And last but not least, they use sex to try to seduce their victims. So those were some of the things that I had found as far as how they operate and how to identify them and how they attack.
Interesting.
I have brought, yeah, it's very interesting. So with that being said, Lisa, I am down to my final thought, and I, I don't know. Are you ready for your final thought, or do you have anything more to add?
No, I think I got everything in that I wanted to say about this. So I'm ready
they,
for
they'll
final
eat.
thought.
They'll eat you. They'll eat you, Michelle. Uh, I'll let you do yours first if you'd like, and then I'll wrap it up. I've got kind of an extensive final thought.
Mine too. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm no. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay. Okay, so I go back to my original questions I had about what happened, whether or not it happened, what evidence is available, and what, if any, role did Kate Batts have in it. Um, there's some things that we don't know and we're unable to find, but there's things that we may never know. But after some fairly thorough research and gathering of a good bit of evidence, personal testimonies, recorded documents, literature, historical accounts, and sifting through and debunking a lot of theories that are out there. Um, like those who lived through this ordeal, it's my opinion that Kate Batts is responsible. Can we prove that? No, because she never admitted it. She never admitted involvement. In fact, she vehemently denied it, which um, everyone involved didn't take her at that word. They all believed she was absolutely responsible. But being only 2 to 3 generations removed from the Salem witch trials, I doubt many people would admit to being a witch or being responsible for this. But all the signs are there. And if she merely started out as an herbalist to attempt to cure her husband, who was paralyzed, um, when that wasn't working, I think she resorted to darker magic out of desperation. Um, and did she conceal her true self with Bible knowledge and hymns to enact vigilante justice or self-righteous condemnation? Like I mentioned earlier, the rumors of an affair between her and John may have been her attempt to silence him forever. Uh, Whatever her reasons, it seems Kate likely conjured up or opened a door or to something untamable. Was it her intention to unleash the level of vicious attacks, destruction of a family, and irreversible damage? Maybe not, but that's no excuse, because as a Christian, she should have known better that those two worlds are incompatible. Maybe she felt the public scrutiny was worth it to achieve revenge. So let this be a warning not to dabble in dark things of this world that you don't fully understand, that you don't know the power of, you can't control. It's not easily reversed, but most importantly, it's detrimental to your soul, because you may end up like Kate, with a reputation as being the most infamous witch in American history, which still haunts her to this day.
I think that's very well said because, you dabble in witchcraft and lie and deceive.
Oh, I think he might be frozen. Okay, well, anyway, those are my final thoughts. And I'm sure Mike will be back in just a second here for his final thoughts, which I can't wait to hear. Um, just a reminder to everyone, I'd like to invite you to hit the like button, and thank you for watching. Thank you for any donations tonight. We appreciate that very much.
I
Don't
I
forget to
believe
hype
that.
the video. Go ahead.
Yes, and hype the video. That's all,
Yes.
and then I have my final thought, which is going to be kind of long. Yeah,
Okay.
and we ask everybody to hype the video for sure. That helps so much. Even after the show, if you come back in, you're listening to it now, and it's 3 days later, give it a hype. We would appreciate that. So here's my long final thought, Lisa. I really agreed with yours. I thought it was very well thought out, very well written, and I think that was very, very well said. So thank you for
Thank
that
you.
and for everything you've done and everything you are doing. So.
Thank you.
Uh, So my final thought, guys, is can everybody still hear me okay? My computer says we're lagging just a little bit, so you can still hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, okay. So my final thought is I believe something happened at the Bell Farm. The reported events are disturbing and make this a very frightening case. Now, based on available accounts between about 1817 and 1821, the Bell family reported persistent poltergeist-like activity, knocks, thrown objects, and bruising, and disembodied voices calling itself Kate, that harassed the family, members, and visitors. John Bell later fell ill and did in fact die. A fact linked in legend to the phenomenon, contemporary records and sparse and many vivid tales and details come from later retellings. So plausible explanations range from an unexplained paranormal event to prank, social conflict, or medical psychological causes. Or it just plain and simple happened. But the story's human impact and the persistence in folklore remain undeniable. True witchcraft and spiritual deception absolutely exist today, with practitioners operating covertly under the banner of Christianity and hiding behind the name of Jesus Christ. Because of this deception, individuals cannot be evaluated by their professions of faith alone. They must be judged strictly by their fruits and their actions, as they serve as deceivers aligned with the father of lies. This modern spiritual reality mirrors the historical dynamics of the Bell Witch legend of the early 1800s. In that case, the tormenting entity masterfully used a silver lying tongue. quoting scripture, singing hymns, and mimicking, while producing fruits of absolute chaos, psychological torment, and destruction. Both then and now in today's world, they do the same thing. True spiritual discernment requires looking past deceptive words to reveal the actual spirit operating beneath the surface. In today's world and within the spiritual landscape, history continues to repeat itself. Countless individuals preach the word of God and claim to be Christians. Yet their real-world actions consist of tormenting, harassing, and trying to destroy one another. These are fundamentally not the acts of God. Scripture explicitly commands believers not to repay evil with evil, but rather to forgive instead of destroying, reinforcing that vengeance belongs solely to the Lord thy God and not to mankind. Despite these teachings, many continue to hide behind Jesus' name all over the world today, but their destructive actions ultimately betray their true nature and speak of them being something else entirely. To truly uncover the deception, one must look closely at those who try their absolute hardest to destroy other people instead of lifting them up. Which group do you belong to? Beyond their individual malice, a critical revelation comes from examining their company, the specific circle of people they choose to keep around them, the companions, the allies, and the networks, and the individuals that surround themselves with the inevitably reveal exactly what they are. Ultimately, human beings are judged by their fruits, and the company they keep is a direct reflection of the true root growing within their hearts. One cannot merely say they are living and walking in God's footsteps, when in the other hand, they are trying to do nothing but destroy others that they cannot control. This is truly the definition of a witch, also known as a crybaby. So, I think I covered everything. I mean, they're deceptive, they're liars, they play on your sympathy, empathy, and Jesus gave us discernment for a reason. That's what I believe.
Right.
I pray that each and every individual will find the Lord Jesus Christ. I believe that our time is shorter now than ever. I believe that we're not just living in the end times. I believe we are at the end of time. And I think that our time is short. And I pray that before God blows the last trumpet, that everyone finds the Lord Jesus Christ, because there's only one way to the Father, and that's through the Son. And I give all glory to God for my family, for what I have, for my channels, for every one of you, and my health and my friends. A lot of people will say he doesn't have 500 people in his shows, but I will leave you all with this. I would rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. Thank you for listening tonight, guys. God bless each and every one of you. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And tomorrow night, we'll have a special guest, Bob, on. Don't forget to join us for that. That's going to be an amazing live. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night. God bless and good night.
Good night, guys. God bless.
In the heart of the night, where the shadows play, Stephen Michael Bickey lighting up the way. Abnormal investigations, whispers in the trees, with boots on the ground, I'm chasing mysteries. Shining lights into the dark, unveiling what's unseen. Through the haunting silence, I walk where others dream. I'm on the ancient woods, where legends come alive. I'll uncover hidden from the light. Cryptids roam the wild under the moon's embrace. With every rustle in the leaves, I feel their haunting grace. Shining lights into the dark, unveiling what's unseen. Through the haunting silence, I walk where others dream. Among the ancient woods, where legends come alive, I'll uncover the truth, feel the shadows thrive. Each night a new adventure in the depths of the unknown. With passion in my heart, I'll walk this path alone. But with every discovery, I know I'm not afraid. For in the woods of wonder, true wonders are made. Shining lights into the dark, unveiling what's unseen. Through the haunting silence, I'll walk where others dream. Among the ancient woods, where legends come alive, I'll uncover the truth, feel the shadows thrive. So here's to the night where the strange comes to be, with boots firmly planted on where I'm meant to be.